talk about posture. Let's talk about these things. And let's understand a bit deeper that posture, we all kind of know what we think a good posture looks like and a bad posture looks like. And I hate using the terms good and bad posture because every spectrum of motion has something to contribute. The only problem with motion is when we get locked in one and we forget how to access the other. No one walks around like this all day. And if they did, it would be as dysfunctional as walking around like this all day. These are extremes. Ideally, in a back and a spine, we're moving in and out of both frequently throughout the day. And therefore, we're dynamic. We're not static. But if we're going to think about some aspects of, let's say we're stuck here and we're wanting to experience extension more often, which is, I probably would see 80% of people are a little bit stuck here and need a little bit more of this. Occasionally I see a very military upright posture that actually needs a bit of this. And it's both ways. But ideally we have to understand that we can correct things, but we only stay in that as long as we're conscious. The minute we get distracted or our focus shifts onto a conversation or a task, we go into our unconscious state and our brain holds our unconscious posture. So trying to change it by stamping on another conscious layering will only work as long as you're conscious. The minute you get distracted, you're back into what your body knows. So when we really want to reset our brain's perception of where everything fits, we have to come at it through the brain. We have to stimulate eyes, we have to stimulate ears, and we have to stimulate feet, and we have to stimulate the skin. So it's a big deal, but a really simple concept. One that works really well is what I call the Starfish exercise. It's where we stand against a wall. Obviously, we always line up our feet. We try and have our pelvis centered on those feet. We stack our head on our rib cage, on our pelvis, and then we bring the back of our hands, all this skin at the back of our head, particularly our cranium, back of our body, back of our arms, we press it into the wall. We press our head back with our eyes on the horizon. We press our hands back, and as hard as we press back with our head and our hands, you will feel all of the activation of the extensors on our back of our body. And those extensors or extensor tone is really what we need to keep active to offset our constant activation of our flexor tone. This gets operated on all day. Our brain needs to remember it has extensor tone. There's a part of your brain called the pontomedullary reticular formation. You never hear about it, but to stimulate that part of your brain stimulates extensor tone. And we simply do it by getting sensory input into it via our receptors directly into the brain. So you find a wall, anytime the head's pressing backwards into something hard, you are stimulating the scalp and you're stimulating your extensors. Same with the hands. Hold the position 2-3 minutes until you get fatigued. The harder you push, the harder you activate. Breathe, smile. You want to make sure your brain feels safe in the movement. And then when you let go, you'll notice there's an actual, almost the body takes over. You almost feel your arms lift under the activation of the brain. So stop thinking that you have to pull your shoulders back, stand tall. Just go and find a wall and push back into it. Or if you're in the car, push your head back into the headrest in the car. That's a really nice opportunity to keep your extensor tone awake.